Hello, my name is Jacqueline. I'm a corporate flight attendant and welcome to my YouTube channel. Today is an informational video for you guys. I'm going to be talking about the differences between an FAA certified flight attendant and a corporate cabin attendant. So not that long ago, I published a video and I had mentioned that I am a certified flight attendant. Well, I had a viewer comment, "I think you are not, capital NOT, a certified flight attendant, as only the FAA can certify you." Yes, this viewer is correct. Only the FAA can certify you, but she's incorrect in the sense that I am actually a certified flight attendant through the FAA. I do have my flight attendant card here. I would show you up close, but it's got some personal information on there. Only the FAA can certify you to be a flight attendant. And once you are certified, you get your flight attendant card and you have it for life. So generally, if you are a commercial flight attendant, that's when you would get the card, you complete training, and that's why I have the card, because before I went over to the corporate side of aviation, I was a commercial flight attendant for 5 years. And originally I was just going to type up a response to this viewer explaining the situation, but I thought this was beneficial information for people who are interested in aviation. And also not that long ago, my friend Jamie, who is from FLIGHTESS, also a corporate flight attendant, published a quick video about the differences between being an FAA certified and a cabin attendant. I let her know I was going to film a video about it, but then said, "You know what, girl, I'm just gonna direct everyone to your page and you can answer the questions that I'm always asked." But Jamie encouraged me to make my own video, just expressing that it's good to have solid information out there. The more information out there, the better. So that's why I'm here today making this video for you guys. I am also going to direct you to Jamie's video, which I will link down below for you. All right, so let's get into it. Basically, I just went on dictionary.com and I figured the first thing I'm gonna do is share with you the definition and duties of a flight attendant. Okay, so I'll just read out of my notebook here for you because I copied everything down. FAA duties: comfort, safety, knowledge for evacuation, knowledge about post-evacuation, and medical emergencies. And then according to dictionary.com, the definition of a flight attendant: an airline employee who serves meals, attends to passenger comfort, etc. during a flight. Okay. I would like to point out there are so many things wrong with this definition. I've mentioned it many times in my video. Yes, the duties of a flight attendant are to make sure that our passengers are comfortable, and yes, we do have to attend to them. But the number one duty of a flight attendant is ensuring safety. When I went through training to be a commercial flight attendant, I think my training was a little over 4 weeks. And during that whole time, we focused on safety. We had one half day where we learned service, pushing the cart through the aisle, offering a snack or a soda. And a lot of people have a misconception about what a flight attendant job is because that's what they see happen. There's not an emergency on every flight, thank God. We're not evacuating every flight. Generally, we're there passing out a snack and a soda. So it's certainly understandable why people think a flight attendant is just like an airplane waitress. I understand, but I'm here to hopefully broaden your views, help you realize what a flight attendant actually does. Our primary job is definitely safety. So during my 5 years of flying in the commercial world, I had one serious emergency mechanical that did lead to me evacuating an aircraft. So that was just one evacuation in the 5 years that I was there, and I flew pretty often. I flew a lot more than I'm currently flying, not just due to the coronavirus, but I flew more as a flight attendant on the commercial side just because the pay scale was different and you had to fly a certain amount of hours to make a certain amount of money that I wanted to make. So I was always on an airplane as a commercial flight attendant, but I only had one serious incident where I had to evacuate the plane. I did have medical emergencies where we would have to divert and, we were trained to take care of the passengers until we were on the ground, and then we can get them to paramedics where they would continue on with the medical care. But yeah, overall, flight attendants are really there just doing service because that's how we fill our time on flights. We're not always evacuating and we're not always tending to medical emergencies. And so that brings me to the point of making this video. There's differences between the commercial flight attendants and the corporate cabin attendants. Generally, us girls flying on those private planes, we're not certified flight attendants. Our actual job duty is a corporate cabin attendant. And there's a few reasons for this. First of all, we are flying less than 19 passengers. So the FAA mandates if your plane has 19 or more passengers, you need to have a flight attendant on board. If you have 18 passengers or less, you can just have a corporate cabin attendant. In some instances, you can fly passengers around and you don't even need a flight attendant on board. And if that's the case, then the pilot takes over the safety briefing, and if there were to be an emergency on board, he would or she would lead in evacuating the aircraft safely and then post-evacuation procedures. So as I mentioned, not all flying is the same. I've used the term commercial flight attendant and I've used the term corporate flight attendant or corporate cabin attendant. There are also ways to classify airplanes and the kind of flying that they do and the kind of passengers that they have. And we divide them up in the airline world into parts. So Part 91 flying is just general aviation, and corporate flights can be Part 91. Part 135 flying can be commuter flying, on-demand flying, charter flying, that sort of thing. And also, I believe that helicopters fall under Part 135 flying. And just in relation to this video, the last one I'm going to talk about is Part 121 flying, and that's commercial flying. So any of the major airlines, Delta, United, American Airlines, Frontier, those all fall under Part 121 flying. So they're scheduled air carriers. And so what part you're flying matters because it determines the kind of training that a flight attendant is going to need in order to operate one of those flights. So if you are Part 121, you have to be certified by the FAA to work on one of those flights. If you're Part 91 or Part 135, you can attend a training like flight safety, which is what I attended, and then you can operate on Part 91 or Part 135 flights. And I did make a video called Corporate versus Commercial Flight Attendant Training, where I went super in depth into the differences between the trainings. And if you want more information, I'll link it here, and I'll link it down below for you guys too. But I felt like it was a very informational video. If you guys have additional questions or you're not quite sure what kind of flying that you want to do, but you know you want to be a flight attendant, hopefully these two videos can help you determine which one is going to be the best fit for you. It was actually in that video, corporate flight attendant training versus commercial flight attendant training, that I said that I was an FAA certified flight attendant, and that's when a viewer come back and said, actually, you're not. So I think I probably didn't give off enough information. I maybe didn't explain that once you become an FAA certified flight attendant and you have this lovely flight attendant card, that you are always an FAA certified flight attendant. I'll reiterate something that I said in that video. I'm definitely glad that I did have the FAA certified training, just because it was so much more intense than what I learned at flight safety or something that could be learned at FACS if you decide to go that route. For your corporate training, I spent a full 4 weeks covering hypoxia, engine failures, fires on board, just so many different scenarios of things that can go wrong and do go wrong on airplanes, and how to keep yourself and your crew and your passengers safe if something like that happens. And when I was in flight safety training, we hardly touched on any of that. You got a little bit of information, and we did actually put out a real fire on a real airplane, obviously one that is used for training purposes and not in flight. So we had some of that hands-on training, but it just wasn't as in-depth. It was more service focused, and we had food preparation classes and things like that. So the jobs are completely different. I've mentioned that before. Just because I was a flight attendant on the commercial side, I thought maybe it would be easy for me to get into the corporate side, and then I realized the jobs are not alike, like at all. They're completely different. And the trainings were completely different, and what I do compared to what I did, completely different. I am glad that I have the FAA certification just under my belt. It just makes me feel that much more confident on an airplane. And I'm not saying if you go to FACS or flight safety, or if you're only, don't be offended by that term, if you are a corporate cabin attendant, that you're not as qualified and you're not going to be able to help people or save people, or you're not going to know what to do if you have to evacuate a plane and then post-evacuation procedures. You're trained on this, and they're confident that they can put you on an airplane and help you with this. And sometimes the duties of a corporate cabin attendant don't include that. They focus on the service side. So then you have the pilots, like I said, they would be in charge of emergency situations. So you have backup help with your crew. So I don't want anyone watching this to get offended, or I don't want to come across as knowing more because I went through a different training before I started in the corporate flight attendant world. I have confidence in all of my flight attendant friends out there and cabin crew attendant friends out there. We want to be safe, and every year we go through recurrent training just to refresh our skills. So I'm proud of all the work that you corporate cabin attendants do. I'm proud of all the work that all of you FAA certified flight attendants do. Hopefully this was a fun, informational video for you all. If you need further clarification, or if you do have any other questions, comments, thoughts, or concerns relating to this or anything else commercial or corporate flight attendant, please post it down below. I make these videos to help you. I watch other YouTubers to help me. So I like when it's an open discussion. I like when we can bounce ideas off of each other. And if you have any input, I am certainly welcome to hearing that input. Please leave me a thumbs up for this video. If you're looking for me on social media, my Twitter is @JackTravels. That is JAC Travels. And if you're looking for me on Instagram, my Instagram is Jacqueline Travels, just like it is here on YouTube. Please make sure that you leave me a thumbs up for this video, and don't forget to subscribe to my channel. Thank you guys very much for watching. I really appreciate it. I hope you're all safe, and I hope you're all well. Thank you again.